I have ground out the inside right here where the motor goes. And if you want to grind that out, you can use a moto tool, and you can use some of these high-speed cutters, and you'll get this ground out so that it's wide enough for your motor and deep enough. Then what I did was I got the trucks in here, and to line them up to the worms, I shimmed it. I took some flat lead pieces here, cut them to width, put them in there with some goop, and got the right height set. Okay. With lead, if it's too high by just a little bit, take your lead piece and your hammer and just tap it, and you'll thin it out. Then you can cut it with a scissors. So now that we're good to go there, the trucks are wired and everything, we've got to do couplers. Don't leave couplers till the very end. Now's the time. So I got them on the track here, and with the coupler gauges, I want to bring these in and line them up like this. Let's get down here a little bit. I'm going to show you how to tell if you're going to be right. Because we got to have insulated couplers, which means we got to use the box. Okay, do you see where that seam is? There's a seam right there. You want to file this down flat until this end slips underneath, just barely slips underneath the pad where the coupler gets mounted. That's how you know it's going to be the right height. And so just carefully file that off and get it down to the right height. Let's take a look on the other side. Now this one looks like that, to me, looks like a problem. It shouldn't be like that. That tells me the frame might be bent. It should look more like the front one. We'll switch these around just to make sure. I'm going to say the frame is bent. So, what I'll do is I'll straighten it up a little bit, and then we'll check it again. Sure enough, frame was bent. So now we're at the seam again. So we're going to file off right up to that seam. And on this side, we're going to file off right up to that seam there. That was it. All you had to do was put it between the jaws of a vise and just give it a very gentle bend, and that took care of it. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and file those off. Then we'll drill and tap the hole and install the couplers and check for height. Okay, let's build some Kadee couplers. But first, during the setting of the height, one of the things I did, so when I got it really close, I've got a piece of sandpaper stapled onto a block of wood, and I can take this end here, and I can shave off a little more as I need it. It's okay to go a little too far, because then you can use a washer. If you don't go enough, well, there's nothing really you can do about that, so you just got to keep sanding. Alright, so now we're going to build a number 5. First thing I did was I coated it with spray-on graphite. Alright, and I'll show you why in a little bit. But a lot of times we'll put powdered graphite inside our coupler boxes. And the spray-on stuff works really, really well. Alright, so we're going to take a little spring here. This guy. We're going to take the top. I'm going to put them through that hole. Lay them right on there. Then we're going to take the coupler. Goes right there. I know, last time we did this, some of you said, I've been doing it wrong all the time. Yeah, the spring goes above the coupler when it's like this. Okay, then I'm going to take my box on. And we're using the old style because they're super common. The new snap-ons, super easy. And the whisker couplers eliminate all that part. Now, if you've ever seen these guys, they come in a pack. Dollar Store, Harbor Freight, other places. This is what we do with them. They're perfect for this application. Alright, so I haven't glued anything or nothing. I just got it in here. It happens to be just like that. Okay, now I'm going to take my sanding block again. And the part where I cut the sprue, I'm going to sand that off a little bit. I don't really need to, but that, in fact, that's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now I'm going to take a little bit of super glue. First, test it on this paper towel, and on here is baking soda. Okay, now just on this back side, get some super glue on there, just like that. Then I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to touch him to the baking soda. All right, there. There, now he's held together, nice. Not impossible to get apart in the future. Now we got a good Kadee coupler. Okay. So now, if you don't have any of these guys, these are brass screws, number 256 brass screws. I strongly suggest you get a whole lot of them. Get a big old box full, because they are perfect for what we were doing right here. I took a 256 tap, which you can get in the Kadee number 246 drill set, which comes with a drill to make this hole. But you can use a 1/16 drill bit to drill the hole, and then use the tap. When you do the tap, and we're doing this, this is a zinc alloy. I use air tool oil on here, and then you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth till you're all the way through. And take it out every once in a while and clean the chips off of it, and you'll get a really good tapped hole. All right, so now I'm going to take this, put the screw in. Okay. Put them on right there. And the reason I say to get these brass ones is because if it was too tall right here, they're very easy just to cut that off. That's what's good about having the 256 brass screws. All right, now let's see what we got. Let's go put them on the track there. And see if we got good coupler height. Oh wait, no, graphite first. Okay, so I sprayed it with graphite. I'm taking a makeup brush. Get a makeup brush from the dollar store. Hold your finger like this. Now let's look very carefully. See how he looks right now? Then I'm going to take this makeup brush. Just like that. I'm going to go over the other side. Oops, I guess not that tight on there, but go like this. One thing about spraying the graphite on, those springs are less likely to disappear if they have graphite sprayed onto them. All right, now the head looks like that. See that nice sheen to it? I found that that little trick right there makes a huge difference for coupling cars. Some cars, especially if they've been painted with like a rust color or something, they resist getting another coupler attached to them because the surface is not that good. All right, now did we make it? So we have two things we're testing here with this. Let's zoom in. Okay, we're testing two things here. First, we're testing for height. Second, there is a little shelf right there. This pin must go over the top of that shelf. And I bent that pin a little bit with pliers. Okay, we've made it over, but I see on this guy, the pin, this guy's pin is not, I'm going to have to twist them a little ways. I don't want them to run into the other pin. Okay. There. Now let's check it. That is what we want. Look at that. Perfect. And it goes over the little shelf. What about the other side? Let's check them. Okay, is this pin going to go over the shelf? No, it isn't. This pin is too low. So I'm going to take my needle nose. This pin is a wire that goes through here and curves out. So if you're very careful, you can see the top of the wire there. You can grab it in the teeth. You can grab the other end in the teeth. Now you just squeeze a little bit. There. Okay. Just squeeze them a little bit. Don't crank down on them because it's going to be, you're going to bend them too much. And as long as we're doing this, let's pull the wires up. Let's pull these guys up here. Okay, now very nice. Bring this guy in. Okay, now let's zoom in on him. How is he? Is that too low? He makes over the shelf. From that angle, it looks low. What about? He's just a tiny bit low, and I'll tell you what we're going to do for this being a little bit low. He's low because he isn't straight. So I'm going to take some lemons. Just like that. Give him just a tiny bend. Tiny bend. And then we're going to go back on here. How are we now? He's still a little bit low. So I'm going to take him to the, I'm going to take that off. I'm going to take him to sanding block. And then we'll come back and see him in just a second. I was wrong. The frame was a little bit bent. So I bent him a little bit better, a little farther back. And now we have it. Yeah, I'm glad I noticed that before I sanded it down too far, because the frame, I want the frame nice and straight. So there it is. The coupler's installed. Looking good. I am now going to build a fuel tank, and I'm going to paint that under frame.